This is major news, and people would go on to think that maybe this could mean that Melbourne is about to be the best place to invest, but I'm here to tell you to proceed with caution. Before you go ahead and buy one of these properties, definitely keep watching. Hi guys, my name is Ravi and welcome back to Personal Finance with Ravi Sharma. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because I talk about real estate, personal development and financial freedom. Now this is big news. The Victorian government comes out and suggests, hey, you know what? We've got a fantastic idea. Let's scrap stamp duty on all new homes and maybe we just apply it to new buyers. No, maybe we'll apply it to everyone. So let's deep dive into what this actually means, and I'm going to try and do this with bringing as much value to you guys because I think there's a few things of concern, but again, I'm open to learning a little bit more about this. Now, the Victorian Premier just said the move is designed to cut upfront costs and deliver more homes for renters and buyers across the state. Currently, only first home buyers and owner-occupiers can access stamp duty concessions when they buy off the plan, allowing construction costs to be deducted from the sale price in stamp duty calculations. These concessions were also capped with thresholds of under $750,000 for first home buyers and $550,000 for owner-occupiers. From Monday, new concessions will be available to all off-the-plan buyers, including foreign purchasers, with the threshold removed. However, house and land packages or homes not part of strata subdivisions are not eligible for the new concession. So if you went out there and bought a house and land package that was just a house, it wouldn't apply to that. But if you went and bought a house and land package that was part of a strata plan, then you would be able to get this. Now we're going to dive into a couple of things that are a bit concerning here, but let's just give them a chance. The amount saved will effectively depend on how much construction has already occurred when the property is purchased. So stamp duty is calculated on the contract price minus the construction costs incurred on or after the contract date. So if you go and buy an existing home, it's the total value. So let's say it's 500K, you'll pay stamp duty on 500K. But if you go out there and buy a house and land package, you'll just pay stamp duty on the land. Of course, that's lower than when the completed product is actually there. Now, that's one of the biggest sales tactics that people use when suggesting you should buy off the plan or you should buy house and land because you reduce how much taxes you pay up front when it comes to stamp duty. Now, although that's true, there's a bigger concern when it comes to these new house and land packages. And I've spoken about this in great detail. So if you're in the middle of doing it or you're about to sign up with one of these companies that pretend like they're on your side and charge you nothing up front or very little, you need to go check out this video. I don't like coming out here and spreading negativity, but I want to protect you guys. And my thing is that these things are not good for you. Now, something like this in mainstream media is going to go and attract average Australians to go and do these average mistakes. And these average mistakes, unfortunately, disadvantage so many people and is why they get stuck never being able to move forward. It's so sad and, to be honest, unethical when you think about all the mechanics that go behind something like this. But again, let's continue. The government provided an example of a $620,000 apartment where no construction has started, attracting just $4,000 in stamp duty, a $28,000 saving under the new calculation. Ms. Allen said the government is responding to industry feedback that off-the-plan sales have slowed and it's been difficult to get new developments underway in the state. Although Ms. Allen cites interest rates as a major contributor, investor interest in the Victorian housing market has fallen off a cliff, with the government hiking land taxes on investment properties and introducing stricter residential tenancy laws. The new stamp duty concessions will also apply to investors. We asked the industry what they need to build more homes sooner, and this is what they said, Ms. Allen said. Now, who are they asking? The people they're asking are developers, okay? So the developers say, well, we can only build homes if there's enough of an incentive for someone to buy it, which makes sense. The reality is right now that many people can't afford to buy it because they don't have enough cash up front or they don't have the borrowing capacity, or a combination of both. So what this would do is it would effectively reduce how much you need up front to purchase a property. So that seems like a win here. So I'm not sure why Ravi's complaining. Well, Ravi's complaining because you've just mentioned a couple of things here. You've mentioned that it applies to investors and, more importantly, it also applies to foreigners. So that doesn't really make any sense. Because if you're going out there and saying, well, I really want to go and increase how many homes there are here, sure, by going and attracting investors, you're going to get more homes in there. And maybe it's going to lead to more rental properties, which should reduce how much of an effect we have with the rental crisis. That's a positive. But we don't really have too much pressure when it comes to the rental crisis in many areas of Victoria, because there's such an oversupply of property. That doesn't seem like the problem here. Equally, a lot of the foreign buyers are just buying the property and just keeping them vacant. There's nothing actually happening there. So all this really tells me is that there's an artificial push by the government to say, okay, sure, we can go and reduce the land taxes. Sure, we can go and change the residential tenancy laws, but no. Let's go and reduce the stamp duty and we'll apply it to everyone. So if first home buyers want to buy their own property, yeah, cool, you can still buy it. But now we're also introducing everyone else. We're introducing other people like investors and foreign buyers that can come in and say, well, now they also don't have to pay stamp duty. In all of this, I'm seeing the biggest winner are the developers and the people that sell the crap that these developers are selling. Now, I'm not going to generalize here and say everything that's off the plan is crap. What my pet peeve is, or the biggest issue I have with how this gets presented, is what will happen is you go to one of these providers and they'll say, look, you can buy this new house and land package. Often accountants or really crappy brokers will suggest going and referring you to buy something like this. And what happens is they'll say, well, there's a small fee or there's no fee at all up front. And we make all of our money from a marketing fee that the developer pays us. So if they're getting paid a marketing fee, you should probably ask them how much. Because I'm telling you now that marketing fees are a hell of a lot more than what you think. And I know this for a fact because I get reached out by a lot of these guys and it's happened numerous times already. And that could be anywhere up to $40,000 to $60,000 in some cases. So if you go ahead and buy, say, an apartment for $600,000, if you find out that the marketing fee is $20,000, does that mean your property is actually worth what you paid minus $20,000? The developer's happy giving someone else a marketing fee. What's worse in all of this, and I get everyone needs to run a business, but what's worse is that it's very unethical in how it gets presented. If you're going in and saying, well, we actually don't charge a fee to you, we get paid by the developer, it's the same shit. You're still going, hey, you're still gonna end up paying as the client or the person going and buying a property. Now, although it doesn't come into my pocket from you directly, I'll get it from somewhere else. And that just means that the property you're buying is not actually worth what it's worth. And this is the biggest issue. Over the last 2 months, we've had so many people come back after having signed up with one of these companies and saying, oh my God, like this is a big mistake. I'm not sure what I'm doing. And I've just asked them those questions and I've realized that I'm actually going to be out of pocket by $30,000 or $40,000. Whereas I should probably just buy something existing and have peace of mind because I can go in right now. Now, what's really interesting is a lot of people will watch this or they'll go and see these media headlines and say, oh my God, this is the best time to be buying in Melbourne. Why would you be buying in Melbourne when they have an oversupply issue? A lot of markets in Australia have been booming. And it's not to do with these areas suddenly having nicer beaches. It's because there's a supply and demand situation going on where demand is outstripping supply. But that's not the case in Melbourne or in areas of Victoria. So if you look at this, this is the chief economist from Ray White. I actually did a full podcast with Narita on my More Than Money podcast channel. Definitely go check it out here. I'll link it here and I'll also link it in the description box below. But she goes on to say that Victoria is possibly in a recession and additional taxes on property owners to pay back state debt has made investing in property less attractive. And if you look at this graph here, Victoria is the worst performing when it comes to an oversupply or undersupply of housing. So if you simply go, well, okay, we've removed stamp duty, now it's the best thing to buy, you're gonna go and buy something and realize that it's not gonna move for the next 10 years because despite the fact that it takes time to approve a property and actually have it built, they already have a supply problem. And we're not seeing those increased levels of demand anytime soon. So is it the right idea to be going, because stamp duty's gone, I'm gonna go and buy there because now I think there's gonna be a massive boom. You've got to also realize that a lot of people that are going to take up this, because there will be a lot, they're going to go and take this up and say, okay, well, based on today's numbers, it's looking pretty good. But if this encourages more people to go buy off the plan, the developers have more of an incentive to build more, which, okay, on one hand is great because it's going to go and bring more housing into the area, but it's bringing housing into an area that probably doesn't need it anyway. Now, even if it does, and it's in areas that maybe lack a bit of supply, right now they lack supply. But when all of these initiatives come into play and you have all of these housing come into the market in the next 12, 18, and 24 months, what do you think that does when it comes to accumulating wealth with real estate? On one side, yes, it's great. You're going to have more housing. But a lot of people in Australia, whether they like to admit it or not, are buying property because they think it's an asset where their money is safe and it's going to outpace any inflation. Apartments in Melbourne right now are still well below, about 8 or 9% below where their highs were in 2017. If you put that into context, we've gone through one of the biggest booms in all of Australian history And yet, we've got housing supply issues with an oversupply causing prices to be lower than where they were almost 8 years ago. I hope you guys critically look at this and understand that not everything is equal. Having stamp duty removed isn't automatically going to get you into a property that's going to grow. And even if you could get into a property easier, is it the right choice? These are the sort of things that I want you to know about, and hopefully it keeps you protected from buying a dud property. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys.